because obviously it was not my intention. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Zoros introduced very well about the geoparks and World Heritage. And you will hear many presentations about geoparks, conservation, tourism, and sustainable development. So when I thought about the right subject to give a speech today, I thought that how about just showing you some very significant heritage values of one small cave, which played a critical role to get the World Heritage inscription. So I'm going to show you some stories about the cave called Yongchun Cave. Obviously, and unfortunately, this is not open to the public, and only the privileged people can go in. Like me, I'm very sorry about that. But I'm hoping that sometime, some of you might have a chance to visit the cave. You all know the location of Jeju Island is about 100 kilometers south of Korean Peninsula. And Korea is between China on the left, on the west, and Japan on the east. The total area of Jeju Island is about 1850 square kilometers, and it has a subtropical humid climate. It's about 565,000 people. Major industry is, of course, the tourism, and with the minor contribution of agriculture and fisheries. There are three famous things about Jeju. It's very good weather, but usually it can get quite windy. That's why we have many stone walls. You can probably see that, tomorrow. And the third is women. I'm not sure why that happened, but there are many women divers still working, and the average age of those women divers are over 55 or something. But they've been working very hard and fishing very hard, and they've been supporting their families for a long time, past a few hundred years. That's why the Jeju women are very strong and very important. All of you know very well, probably, the Jeju Island is a volcanic island. You can see the shield volcano Mountain Hana. Professor Son probably will give you detailed information on geology. But you can also see the numerous small cones, which is called Orum in Jeju dialect, which is scoria cones or cinder cones. About over 380 cones within the island. I'm sure there are more around the island. Jeju has a very specific and special geological setting, even though it's composed of basalt, the volcanic rocks. It's near the convergent boundary, near the subduction zone, and it's surrounded by broad shelf area, continental shelf area. And the average depth of the Yellow Sea is less than 50 meters, and it has a water depth less than 100 meters. So this is very important aspect about my presentation, which I will tell you later. You already heard that Jeju Island has gained the inscription of World Natural Heritage, Marine Biosphere, and during the Global Geopark in 2010. So the defining Jeju Geopark is a whole island concept. It's a quite large area. So within the geopark, I divided into clusters and geosites. cluster means an area with many some geosites close together. All the geosites were selected based on geological, biological, and archaeological and cultural heritage values. So, for example, Jeju Island Geopark has a Mount Hanasan geocluster, and within it there are several geosites. And we have now the one geocluster and 9 geosites, and Jeju Island became a member of the National Geopark status last year. We have many potential geosites, 2014 and 2013, and we are hoping to develop more than 50 geosites in the future. We also have, Korea has a long history of about 5,000 years, and we have a good historical record about more than 500 and 1,000 years. I'm not really sure, but we have many non-geological sites, historical sites, cultural sites, and archaeological sites, and also biological sites. The Jeju Island, the 3 parts of the Jeju Island was inscribed as a World Heritage in 2007 at Christ Church. You can actually see the gentleman who gave a speech this morning. And the criteria was inscribed criteria were criteria number 7 and 8. 7 is the scenic beauty, and 8 is geological heritage values. And these are the 3 inscribed serial nominated sites: Mount Hanasan and Seongsan Ilchulgong-Tufgon, where we will be tomorrow, and the Common Orm Lava Tube System in the northeastern part of Jeju. When I wrote the nomination document for the World Heritage, I thought that we have a very good geological integrity. We have a main volcano, shield volcano, Mount Hanasan, and then together with it we have over 380 syndicons, and one of them is a fantastic syndicon made by hydrovolcanic eruptions. And we will also be here tomorrow. And then, one of them is the common Orm, which produce multiple lava flows to produce the common Orm lava tube system. And this is the location of the common Orm lava tube system. Actually, from the common Orm, we have a series of lava tube caves along its path. But recently we found several lava tube caves in this region as well. So this is the cave you're going to visit tomorrow. It's the Manjang Cave, and this cave has the largest lava column in the world. And in the wild cave area, we have a fantastic lava flow structures, such as Pahoehoe lava, like this on the floor. And we have a show cave area for about a little bit over 1 kilometers. So I'm going to tell you a little bit stories about this cave, Yongcheon Cave, which is almost at the downstream end of this huge flow system, which is about 15 kilometers to the sea. And this is a plan map of the cave. It's a typical lava tube cave with a sinuous passage. And this is a longitudinal cross-section map of this cave. This cave was discovered by the electric company who was trying to put the electric pole into the ground in 2005. And some very bizarre looking formations. And this, you can say, probably flowstone. And sometimes we have beautiful stalagmites, lava stalagmites. But more than that, the more interesting part of this cave is it's not just a typical lava tube cave. It is, we call it land decorating caves, Yongcheon Cave and Dangcheon Cave, with many carbon spirit dams in this cave. Why do we have spirit dams? Because we have many carbonate beaches in the shallow sea, and those carbonate sands were actually transported onto land in the past, making the carbonate sand dunes. So here we have beaches, and we have the distribution of carbonate sand dunes like this, and here's the cave, and some parts of the cave were covered with carbonate sands. And this is the direction of the transportation of carbonate sands onto the land. So we excavated carbonate dunes. It has several paleosol layers. Paleosol means old soil zones. And the dune sediment itself is a very typical carbonate sands made up of mollusks, red algae, benthic forams, and echinospines, spines, and bryozoans. So one of my students actually did the age dating of those paleosols, because the paleosols obviously have organic matter, and we can use radiocarbon dating for the accurate dating of those paleosols. And you can see that the sands began to be deposited since about 5,000 years ago, and we have a very nice, sequence of the age data. But when you date the carbonate sands, it's a little bit chaotic, because it's showing the very old to young sediments, which obviously means that there was a mixing, old sediments were mixing with young, sediments. So this very broad shelf provides space for the large carbonate sand deposition in the shallow sea, and then very strong wind probably move the carbonate sands onto the land. So we have a carbonate sand dune and very thin basalt. So after rain comes, the rainwater, dissolves some carbonate sands on the surface and pick up calcium and carbonate ions and move those into the cave for the formation of carbonate skeletons. I show you this. So this is a very ideal cave setting for carbonate skeletons. So we have on the ceiling, we have many stalactites and stalagmites. On the floor, we have stalagmites and cave harpoons and sharkstones and many other carbonate formations. So I'm showing you some very nice carbonate skeletons which you normally see in the limestone caves. Long stalactites. This is this formation is very similar to the normal carbonate skeletons in limestone caves. Beautiful soda straws and some cave harpoons. But sometimes we can find very strangely looking skeletons such as this. You do not see those kind in limestone caves. Why? We accidentally found some broken skeletons, one column, and we could find many holes inside. Why are those holes? These holes are the remnants of tree roots, plant roots. With this cave very near the surface, the plant roots penetrate. So this formation was not formed by the normal formation processes for skeletons, elsewhere, but this was especially formed by the coating around the plant roots. So this is very special. So you can after I figure out that, I can actually see many understand this kind of very interesting skeletons. This is a coating around the plant roots. I hope you agree with me. And these days, the paleoclimatic research is very hot topic. So I got into in those studies. We've been publishing many papers, but I don't have enough time to show you all of it. But we selected one stalagmite from this Yongcheon cave, and we used geochemical data to interpret, which can tell us the past variation of Asian monsoon intensity, which means how much rainfall we had in the past or how hot it was in the past. So we selected one stalagmite and we used the conventional texture analysis using intersections, and we used the age dating, we did the age dating, and we did a high resolution stabilized topic analysis of oxygen and carbon to understand. This is the result by uranium series dating. You can see that this stalagmite started to grow since about 600 years ago. So, and also there are some species, there are some paleosurface which shows the hiatus, which means no growth of the stalagmite. Anyways, after analyzing this, you can see the dark age cold period, medieval warm climate, and little ice age and global warming. Very clearly, all those 4 stages of climatic variations in the past 1500 years. And maybe for some of you who came from Europe, it's very little ice age is very well known. That's when the wheat price and wine prices went up. And if you do not, if you cannot buy enough wheat or wine, what do? You go somewhere else. That's when many people immigrated to North America due to climate change. We also had this historical record in Korea. During the Little Ice Age, about 1 million people died in 1 year, and about 4 million people died in 1 year, and almost 20% decrease in population for 7 years. So we have a historical record to support our research data. We are going to extend our story back to the past 5,000 years in the future. But I'm going to show you some other aspect of this cave. At the downstream end of the passage, there's a big hole like this. It's a large hole. I'm going down. But I cannot go down further because there's a lake. It's a beautiful lake. What is in the lake? I got very curious. So, oops. How can you go back? 어떻게 돌아가죠 이거? It's about cave. It was the animal bone after human people ate. Okay? And there's many big, large abalone shells, and archaeologists told me that it's commonly used as the dish in the old days. And we have some wooden torches, some iron pot, the iron rod for the flags. And these kind of potteries are found everywhere throughout the whole cave. The present entrance is here, but obviously there was no entrance. Probably the entrance was in ancient times was here. So we found those potteries everywhere. Some of them are very important because some of them are used by high-rank officers about 1200 years ago. And those times, we do not have a very good historical record on Jeju Island. So this is giving us a very good evidence that there is a very good cultural connection between the main Korean peninsula and the island. we actually carried out the radiocarbon dating of this charcoal and tree fragments. And there are some signs of ritual ceremonies, the stone pile. So the downstream end of the Ginyeong Cave is blocked by carbonate sand, and this is the upstream end of the Yongchun Cave, and obviously it was the one cave a long time ago. And there was a big whole skylight, and people got into the cave through the skylight. Something like this. And then people could not get into the cave anymore after those entrances were filled with sands. So there are some very interesting cultural aspects of the Yongchun Cave. When the carbonate sands blocked the cave entrance, humans could not enter the cave anymore. Why did the men enter the cave? Why did they eat meat at the end of the passage? Why? Well, they get hungry. Did they get hungry? Why does the stone pile mean? Is the legend about Ginyeong Cave true? There was a legend, interesting legend, that there was a big snake in the cave, so they used to make a sacrifice for a young girl to the cave. So I was looking for the human skeletons when I did diving, but I could not find it. But I don't know. We'll try to find it more. So I don't know. I still it's mysterious why people try to go across the cave in such a dark environment. So the conclusions: Yongchun Cave has numerous invaluable natural and cultural heritages. Vast continental shelf area surrounding Jeju Island connected to the rapid Holocene sea level rise, providing shallow marine carbonates which were transported onto the land and became a source for carbonate skeletons. Bright fish probably tells us the adaptation time for the eyes to become regenerated. Various types of potteries and other stone monuments indicated that human intrusion into the cave for special purposes. Thank you very much, and I'd like to give my presentation, contribute this to my close friend Chris Wood. He helped me so much for the nomination in Institution of the World Heritage, but suddenly he passed away last year. Thank you very much.
Now I would like to invite our last speaker.